If you thought the illegal immigrant small boat crisis couldn't get any worse, then sadly you're mistaken, as a shocking loophole has been discovered, and surprise, surprise, it F's us over even more. Hey up everyone and welcome to Political Nerds. I'm Steph the Alter Nerd, your nerdy political guide from Washington DC to Westminster and beyond. In today's video I'm going to be discussing a shocking loophole that I'm going to show you guys in a moment that is effing us over even more. Now before I jump into it, of course, do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and as a disclaimer, I'm not inciting hatred to anyone or particular group, religion, etc. So let's jump into it with the loophole. Now, all credit goes to Joe at Joe McCain on X, and they said the following. I shared this Home Office document in 2022 explaining why Border Force go to collect the illegal immigrants, I would put there, on the dinghies. If they're brought ashore by Border Force, they're classed as arriving passengers. And so here's the original tweet that Joe McCain made on X a couple of years ago, back in October 2022, saying, take a look at this Home Office document regarding immigration. It explains why the boats collect all the immigrants and why they're allowed to stay. If the dinghies phone ahead to announce their arrival, or if they're brought to shore by authorities, they're classed as arriving passengers. Now, here are the screenshots of the documents that Joe McCain showed us. So this is from a Home Office document, irregular or unlawful entry and arrival, version 2.0, published for Home Office staff on the 8th of July 2022. And so here they're saying in all cases where a person has been intercepted and rescued under saving of life at sea, otherwise known as SOLAS, and subsequently brought to shore by authorities, they technically do not enter, but they arrive and must be treated as arriving passengers. And then they go on to the section of controlled arrival. And so controlled arrival for the purposes of this guidance means arrival under the supervision of a lawful authority such as Border Force, the Coast Guard or the Royal Navy, and then arrival following rescue in UK territorial seas by persons acting under the knowledge and direction of the Coast Guard. So that includes the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, referred of course as the RNLI. So any illegal immigrant arriving this way, here quoted as an individual in the Home Office document, must submit to examination as an arriving passenger an assessment of whether they qualify for entry under the immigration rules. If they are rescued and brought to shore and then attempt to abscond before examination takes place such that they evade lawful examination, then at that point they've entered illegally. And so in terms of the next section here, interception and controlled arrival, they say those intercepted and rescued at sea, whether by Border Force, the Royal Navy, the RNLI or others acting on behalf of Her Majesty's Coast Guard, are usually escorted and assisted to the Western Jet Foil, the WJF site at Dover. And that the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, the UN clause, imposes a general duty to rescue those in distress in international waters. Coastal states have a responsibility for ships in distress in territorial waters, usually at 12 miles. Individuals intercepted in UK territorial waters where they are in danger or distress or there are reasonable grounds to believe they intend to enter the UK illegally must be taken to a place of safety in the UK. Not like they weren't safe in France or any other country in Europe that they travelled through to get to us. Insane, right? Now, they say this may include individuals using any kind of vessel or device, such as a freaking dinghy, to make their attempted crossing. They may be intercepted and brought to the UK by a variety of means, included but not limited to Border Force vessel, RNLI, air sea rescue, and private vessels responding to people in apparent distress. And so individuals who have been rescued at sea and brought to the UK shore are not technically illegal entrants. They're not technically illegal immigrants, provided that they submit to further examination processes described in Schedule 2, Immigration Act 1971, and must be treated as arriving passengers instead of illegal immigrants. But wait, guys. Oh, there's more from this document. Again, thanks to Joe McCain. Individuals rescued at sea and brought to the UK shore are classed as arriving passengers. If the small boats have contacted the authorities before making landfall and have been directed to proceed to a given beach or marina to be met by first responders, they're also then to be treated as arriving passengers, in line with those rescued and brought ashore. However, if the illegal immigrants have not contacted the authorities beforehand and are either waiting to get to the beach or present themselves to the first responders when they arrive, or make no attempt to evade officers who have arrived before they make landfall, they are also to be treated as compliant arriving passengers. However, where the migrants have, on landing, completely dispersed or attempted to evade officers, they are considered non-compliant and must be treated as illegal entrants in line with the in-country IE procedure. Yeah. So, essentially, right, shiz the freaking bed. The Home Office is turning around and saying, if the illegal immigrants are brought into the UK by Border Force or any other boat that's sanctioned for it, right, okay, or if they warn ahead of time, if they warn Border Force ahead of time that they're coming over, or even if they don't warn, right, even if they don't warn Border Force, if they just simply come on over, land on our shores, right, and then submit themselves to the subsequent examinations, this, that, and the other. In all three circumstances, they're not considered illegal immigrants. They're considered as arriving passengers. Now, my mind is blown on this because ultimately, even knowing this loophole, right, I still stand by the belief that they are all illegal immigrants. They have broken into this country. They have arrived here illegally because they haven't gone through the proper visa channels to be here in the freaking first place, right? So because they're here illegally, why the hell are they not being arrested and deported for literally breaking the law by simply being here in the first place? Well, now we know. The system is freaking rigged against us. This shocking loophole is effing us over even more because the authorities, the Home Office, they're not classing them as illegal immigrants. They're classing them as arriving passengers. And so as such, they're not being done to the full extent of the law of breaking our immigration laws in the first place. Because of this freaking loophole? No wonder! No wonder! I've seen the clips. I've heard the audio on X. I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well, right? When a dinghy is in trouble, when some illegal immigrants on a dinghy, they're in trouble in the middle of the freaking English Channel, right? The French come along, they say, yeah, we can help you, we can help you. And they're freaking turning around and saying, we don't want your help. We want the British to come over to help us instead. No wonder! No wonder! Because the illegal immigrants, they're not stupid. They've been taught, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that when they're picked up by Border Force, they're not classed as illegal immigrants anymore. They're classed as arriving passengers. So they don't get into trouble when they arrive to UK because we're freaking shipping them across in the first place and then classing them as arriving passengers instead of illegal immigrants. This loophole is freaking shocking and insane, and it's effing us over even more as a result. And I cannot believe that, as far as I can tell, This loophole is still in place to this day. So, as a result, I don't know if he'll see it or not. To be fair, he probably doesn't even know my existence. But the one thing I would ask you guys to do, if you are on X, is firstly, follow me on X, at @StephAlternerd. But secondly, can you do me a favour and retweet this to Rupert Law? Please? I mean, he is the MP for Great Yarmouth, but for me, he represents all of us, really, at this point. I wish he was my MP. I wish he was Prime Minister, really, at this point. But here, I've retweeted this from Joe McCain, saying, "Hey up, Rupert Law, is there a way that your new parliamentary group, Restore Britain, could close this loophole that the small boats are exploiting? It's sickening that our border force seems to not only allow this to happen, but are actively enabling this loophole too." I hope he gets the message. If you guys are on X and you're inclined to do so, please, I'd be really grateful if you could retweet this. Make this as loud as possible so that hopefully there's a chance that Rupert Law can get wind of this. And hopefully he can do some good about this and try and get this loophole closed. Because the mystery as to why these illegal immigrants are not being arrested by simply being here in the first place, because by simply being here, they've broken the law. Well, that mystery's gone now. We know why they're not being arrested by simply being here. Because the Home Office and the Border Force are fudging it all with this loophole, classing them as arriving passengers rather than freaking illegal immigrants. No, let's call a spade a spade. Or, in other words, a little bit of a joke here, but putting a lipstick on a pig doesn't make it any more attractive, if you see where I'm coming from. With that being said, on that hilarious bombshell, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and of course, given the state of the UK and the world, of course, there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our Alternerd tribe here at Political Nerds. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. What the hell do you think to this shocking loophole? Do you think it should be closed up? I do, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters.